Hi everyone, and welcome to podcast number 20 of Double Cross Anime, which is we have done like 20 episodes of this already. That's amazing.
Time flies.
But yeah, I'm Mario, and co-host with me as always is Whooper.
That's me.
And since we do like 20 podcasts, you can only see like 19 of them available. The that's it. One of them is like the Easter egg that you have to figure out yourself to find it.
Support us on Patreon to get bonus lost episodes.
That's right. You need to work your way out. So in this episodes this week, we're gonna do the second episodes of on the summer
Yeah.
on the summer shows, which is Banana Fish episode 2, Tenro series The Tracker episode 2, also episode 2 of Review Starlight, and 2 and 3 of Banana Fish. Also, the next batch of episode 11 to 15 of Nadia's Secret of Blue Water.
The secret blue water.
Woo. So, which one do you like to do first, Rupert?
You want to save Nadia for the end, like we used to do
Yep.
for
Yep,
what's
we're
it
gonna
called?
do that in the Rose of Versailles.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, we can do Nadia at the end. So before the podcast started, I made mention of an anime that I've been watching that had like really flimsy characters and plot. And you
All
said that would
right.
describe one of the anime that we're watching right now. So why don't you go ahead and reveal what that one is, and we can start with that one.
All right. So we start with that one first. The one that I just watched basically like 6 hours ago before I went to sleep. That was Tenro series The Trigger.
Oh, I'm surprised to hear you say that because you seem to like this show quite a bit when we were doing our impressions.
Well, I when we doing the impression last week, I also said that it have like a very nice productions, but the story and the characters are pretty weak.
Yeah,
And so far, the second episode doesn't change my mind about that.
yeah, pretty
How
much.
do you think? Yeah, how do you think about the show so far?
Um, Kind of like uniquely boring despite featuring so much action.
All right.
Although this episode was a little lighter on the action than the first one. Like the
Mm,
first episode opens with well, it opens with the vampire monologue and the ritual where they drink the women's blood. But then right
yep.
after that, there's like a big action set piece where the Jaegers all come swooping into the building, and then like at the end of the episode, there's a fight scene and a car chase and a whole bunch of stuff. This one was lighter on the action, um, but it didn't make up for that in any meaningful way. Most of the
Ho-
dialogue was kind of boring, and the cops especially, every time that the cops are on screen like trying to figure out stuff that we as the audience already know, I just want to pass out. I just want somebody to wake me up when we get to the next scene. I don't understand why they're structuring things that way. Like why are we spending any time with the police? Why aren't they just like coming into the character's story, like interrupting a story that we're invested in so we can view them as being like obstacles, because that's what they are. I don't know, man.
uh,
I'm
all
bored.
right. Because it beyond the human, like capability of grabbing on this thing. That's a human superhuman that we're talking about here. So yes, but thankfully, like the second episode don't feature much of the police side,
There was still
and
some. They were like trying to figure out who was supporting
oh
the
yes,
the
that's right.
Hyako group, the Hyako party, the guys with the masks who are killing people
Yep,
and
yep, yep,
smearing their blood on the walls and stuff that we saw in the first episode too. They're trying to figure out who's behind them, and like comically, they think that it might be the Jaegers or
yep,
the what are they called? Like the V shipping company that is a
yep, yep,
front
yep.
for the Jaeger organization. They think it might be like them who's supporting
Yep.
the Hyako party. It's just they're so
All
far
right.
behind the curve of what we as the audience know that I don't understand the point of spending any time with them.
All right. And when we get to the story of the second episode, I just noticed that the story is very ham-fisted. The way that like Yuri wake up in the house where the doctors happen to be a heart surgeons, and he doing some kind of research which lead back to the main story. So
Right.
that on in the service of like pulling the plot forward. So there's actually no real characters to speak of. There's a bit of chemistry between Yuri and the girl, the daughter, which also it's like a dime a dozen. Like in every story that feature vampire and werewolf, you have like those kind of relationship. So no,
Well,
the
with like the young innocent child.
yep,
Yeah.
with the wild wolf. So it's story wise, character wise, they are not very memorable. You find any of them like annoying?
Do I find any characters annoying? The cops.
Well, you're right, the cows.
Um,
Agree with you, yes.
I kind of find Philip a little bit irritating, but I think we're just we don't understand like the depth of loss that he experienced
Oh,
when Yuli's brother killed his parents.
it's not exactly Yuri brother that he's talking about. We don't know for sure.
I'm
He
pretty
just
sure that his like Yuli's ex-partner
yeah.
who killed his parents. I'm pretty sure it was his
Uh,
brother.
yeah. I think he just been like a werewolf kind. But yeah, you might make sense.
Yeah, because I think they're both werewolves. That's the big thing
Oh.
that happens in this episode. That's like the biggest moment is the reveal right at the end that his brother is working for
Yep.
the vampires, and they both
Hmm.
have they both have blue eyes. So
Yep.
I kind of feel as though that means that they're both werewolves.
That's right. And yep, basically I'm run out thing to talk about.
Oh,
So,
I got more.
all right, tell me more.
Yeah, so I do think that the brother was his former partner. That makes the most sense in terms of Philip really blaming Yuli for his parents' death.
Yep.
Why would he blame him like so? Why would he be so adamant about it being Yuli's fault? It makes sense for one of Yuli's family members, someone who's tied very closely to him, to have been the
Yep.
one to kill Philip's family. So
Hmm.
I really like the character design of the brother. I like how his eyes are half lidded,
Yep. Hmm.
because it kind of it gives him like a bit of a menacing aura, but also rather than him being like super evil like Agatha, the vampire in this episode who was also in the first one,
Hmm.
who
Yep.
got a really cool death scene by the way. The way that she like the flames kind of gently licked over her body and then she turned to ash. I thought that was really cool looking.
Yep.
But she's dead now, so good riddance. Those metal legs are not serving her their
All right.
purpose anymore. I think that Yuli's brother has a cool design to him. He looks threatening, but at the same time his looks like might draw you in. He has a bit of a friendly appearance to him as well because of
Mhm.
his eyes, and I don't know. I thought he looked cool.
All right. Um. Yeah. How do you think that Yuri, even among his guy, his werewolf guys, is some kind of special?
I mean, he's the main character, so yes.
Well, because I remember Agatha from last week told him that he's actually a Sirius, and I don't know what the hell Sirius is, but supposedly that's like the special kind among werewolf. How do you
Yeah.
think?
In this episode, he's referred to both directly as Sirius. Agatha calls him that, but
Hmm.
she also calls him. I wrote it down. Let me see here. A descendant of Sirius.
a descendant of Sirius.
Yeah,
All right.
and Kirshner, the leader of the vampires,
Mm-hmm.
who's present there when Agatha gets her metal legs and stuff,
Yep. Yep.
and he's talking to her about like it's shameful that she was beaten um by Yuli, and he calls
Yep.
him, what does he call him? I wrote it down. I swear it's here. Oh, a survivor of Sirius. So
All right.
I think what I'm guessing that Sirius is the name of like perhaps the original werewolf or like a really legendary werewolf.
Mm-hmm.
And once you're bitten by him, you kind of gain his name.
Huh.
So I think Sirius is probably a character who we will see later on in the show, like the leader of all werewolves or the original or something.
Mm-hmm.
But all the people who like survive his bite and become werewolves themselves adopt his name as part of his like
This
his
descendants.
pack, yeah, or his heritage.
All right. Hmm. All right. How? All right. I have one more questions. How do you think about like the vampire? They want to get on the artificial body.
Yeah, I'm curious about that.
Yeah,
Why
organs.
do you think the vampires are taking out these or not taking out? They're turning them into vampires. All the vampires are turning like the doctors and researchers and stuff who are creating these artificial organs. Why do you think they're doing that?
Why do I think that the vampire interested in that? Is that what your question is?
Yeah, and in addition, like you see who is it who turns the doctor? Which
All right.
vampire
So
is it who
it's
bites him?
Agatha.
Okay. So why do you think they turn him into a vampire?
Just to mess with Yuri and his daughter. I think that's what I suppose.
Oh, I don't know. I think they must have more complex motivations than that. At the
All
very
right.
least, the show would like us to think so.
All right. Tell me about that.
I don't know. I mean, I'm guessing that the vampires want immortality just for themselves, so they want to eliminate any scientists who are trying to create artificial organs that might lengthen the lives of
Oh.
humans. Like they want to be the only immortal beings. That's my
All right.
guess.
I'm thinking more of the line of they want to use on the artificial organs for something else to create it like a new kind of immortals.
Okay.
That's what I think. So that's why they come and I think they take it. They take the artificial heart away.
Right. They bribe the woman, like the
Yep. Mm-hmm.
what is she, a maid or something like that? They bribe her. She steals it and gives it to Agatha.
Yep.
The research, I
And
guess.
and then one more characters, the daughter of someone else.
Yeah,
Remember?
it's the daughter of the guy who offered like housing to the
Yep.
Jaegers once they came to Tokyo.
So what's her role in the story? Do you think?
Well, I can tell you what her role in episode 2 was. It was just to waste like a minute and a half of airtime. What was the point of? I mean, I understand that for some story beat in the future, perhaps she had to learn that the Jaegers were like brutal and vicious and stuff. Because
Mm-hmm.
we see like the bottom half of her face through the latticework fence
Yep.
right before the end of the episode. So we know that she saw all that. But apart from that, all the stuff like the kendo training that she was doing and her coming over with like a basket of fruit and a bottle of wine in there and being like, "Oh, I sure hope that Yuli is here and I can share all this with him." That
Yeah.
is just chewing up time.
And you know what? It's like in the middle of the night.
Yeah. Well,
That
it's
make no-
obvious what her motivation was.
Well, so regarding that, I think they're gonna be like they're gonna develop the relationship between her and Yuri. I think she's served as the kind of to lessons the nature of Yuri werewolf ability and stuff. That's what I think her role.
She serves as what to the nature of werewolves?
So no, so she will ask. She's the one who will ask the nature of Yuri between the wolf nature and the human.
Oh yes, yeah. Like she's like the audience proxy.
Oh right.
She's the normal person, and through her we're gonna learn about like who exactly or what exactly Yuri is.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess so. I just like I want less of the cops. I want less of her.
Oh,
I need to learn more about Yuli and Philip and all the other,
the team. Yeah,
yeah,
the
just
team
the
members.
Jaegers who are like void of all personality and appeal. I need more of them and less of everything else. Give me establish your core players, your main cast, then expand, like broaden your show.
Yep.
That's how I'm feeling.
All right. But to say all that, I think the production is still pretty cool. Everything, like from the music to the animation to the designs to the acts, everything looked very nice to me.
I guess. I mean, if I don't like your characters, then I'm not gonna like your show.
That's exactly how I'm feeling as well.
Yeah, I mean the action's cool, but the like shows don't get they aren't remembered for all that stuff, or at
Yeah,
least
they
they
have.
won't be remembered for a long time because of that stuff. You
That's right.
need people that you can think of and be like, oh, I remember this show because of this character or these
Yeah,
characters.
yeah. So they have to do more than this. I agree.
Yeah, but after these two episodes, I don't think there's much reason to like hold out hope that they will.
Yep. Hmm.
We'll see though. Maybe all the cops will die. Like all get caught in the crossfire between the vampires and werewolves. There will be no more
Yay.
police in the entire city of Tokyo, and all of a
Oh,
sudden it'll turn into like a masterpiece of character writing.
speaking of that, you think that the design of the Tokyo is like some of the Western cities? Because I get the feeling that some of the time I'm like watching is setting in some kind of European settings.
Before we started watching this, I thought it was gonna be set in London.
Yeah.
Wasn't that even like part of the plot synopsis on AnyChart or something that it was set in a European country?
Nah, that would be another show that we're talking about. That would be Phantom in the Twilight.
Ah,
That's set in London.
okay. Yeah, and those were two anime originals, so I guess I got it mixed up.
Hmm.
All right, this is almost 18 minutes about this show.
All right, that's a lot. That
That's
a lot
too
that
long.
that we talk about regarding that they have no they have nothing to begin with. So let's come to the next one. I say Banana Fish.
Sure, that sounds good. So we got two episodes of this one.
All right. My first impression for the two episodes that we watched so far in Banana Fish, or this episode 2 and 3, is that the pacing was really fast.
Yep.
It sometimes go all over the place. Like in episode 3, I think the pacing was just off.
Yeah. I mean, they're trying to get through 110 chapters of material
Wow.
in 24 episodes, I think.
Yeah.
So it's going to be rough. Strap in.
Yeah. So I can feel the gap between on the pacing. I can see the awkward when
Yeah.
they transition from one scene to another. Case in point, when the or when Ash what his name was the black guy uh
Skip.
Skips, sorry, Skip, when he was shot down, we actually don't have any time to like to think to to get that moment like sit into us, because the action is just moving on so quickly. So us have to follow the guide, Marvin,
Marvin,
and
yeah.
then he would frame, and then he was put into prison. That all happened too quickly.
Yeah. It was pretty fast.
Yeah.
Although I will say, in defense of Banana Fish, I thought it kind of worked how quickly Skip was shot, and and then like immediately Marvin drives away, and Ash roundhouse kicks some guy, steals his car, and drives after him.
Uh-huh.
The reason that I thought that was somewhat effective was because that's how people die. Like, did you notice that Skip did not, like, he didn't have any. There was
Last
no
word.
there was no prolonged goodbye. There was no gigantic melodramatic scene of him
Well,
dying and taking his like gasping breaths. Like he just died.
well, he did cry a little,
Yeah,
and
he did, but it happened in like a couple seconds. And
right,
that's how people die.
yeah,
You know, they don't die like they do on TV.
mm-hmm.
And then so then the emotion that Ash feels afterwards is of course like rage.
Yep.
And you don't move slowly when you're
Mm.
when you're enraged like that, when you've got adrenaline pumping through your system. You don't make sure your hair is just right and then like stride slowly over to a motor vehicle so that you can pursue the guy's killer. You run and you kick and you step on the gas and you drive.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought
Right.
it was reasonable. Although yeah, I mean the whole production feels fast.
Yep. And even like in episode 3 when the whole thing happened inside the prison, I feel like it just like cut off from the rest of the show for some reason.
Well, because they're literally cut off. There's a gigantic wall cutting them off.
Yep.
The prison
Yep.
wall.
Well, yeah, and that seems little connect to the main story, which it's only the like coincidence again. So Ash was put into the prison cell with another guy, Max, who actually know about Banana Fish, who actually was the guy that like the people from the outside asked him to assist to protect Ash. So like it's all this convenient plot.
Yeah, and he was even there in Baghdad, and he was the one who shot Griffin, Ash's
Oh
brother.
yeah, yep.
Yeah, it's when you first said that there was a big coincidence in Sirius the Jaeger, my mind flashed to exactly what you were talking about. To me, the coincidence of him like being assigned a bodyguard who knows about Banana Fish and who had published columns that Ash had read and who knew Ash's older brother and served with him in Baghdad, which used to be the
Yep.
Vietnam War. In the manga, they updated it to be the
Uh-huh.
Iraq War. Yeah, that's a major coincidence.
Yeah, that's right.
And I can't help but feel as though if they'd adapted it, a little bit more slowly, and maybe this had been like a 39 episode production instead of 24, or even like 30 instead of 24, then it wouldn't feel so miraculous.
Yep,
It
right.
it might be like a little bit easier to swallow.
Yep, I agree with you. And how you feel about the updated setting for
Uh,
now?
I'm okay with it. I understand the temptation to modernize it. You want to make it palatable for modern Blu-ray disc buying otaku,
Uh-huh.
which they did, and I think it's mostly working out. They're changing a few things here and there to include cell phones. That's the main thing I've noticed, is that a couple things from the manga have been restructured to allow for the technology of cell phones. Like in episode 3, the meeting between AG and Chang, the guy who runs the
Yep.
Chinese
The-
place in Chinatown.
Yep. Mhm.
Is it Chinese or is it a Vietnamese
It's-
place in Chinatown? I can't remember.
It's Chinese. It's Chinese.
Yeah, there's a guy sitting in the corner who like gets on his cell phone, and I'm
Yep,
not
yep,
sure
yep.
whether that guy called Arthur, like he was a spy, and he called Arthur and let him know that AG was on his way to the doctor, or
Uh-huh.
if he was contacting Shorter, so that Shorter could come out of hiding at a future date. But in either case, they put that guy there, and they made him like some kind of informant. So that's the main result of the modernization that I've seen so far, apart from the Iraq War thing. How do you feel about the modern day element?
Well, I still feel there's a disconnection between the manga like source material and to the updated settings. I just feel like they when they mention the Iraq War, that it's just just feel some kind off to me.
How so?
I don't I can't really tell, but I just still feel it off.
I think it works. I think it works fine. They just changed the time period.
Yep.
I don't know why it would need to be. I mean, I haven't read that much of the manga. At this point, the show has just gotten past how far I read, but
Mm-hmm.
maybe in the future some little bit of information or like a big plot point will come up, and then it'll be important that it took place in an Asian country.
Mm-hmm.
For now, I think it's doing okay.
Yep. And what do you think about on these uh, homo things going on?
Homoerotic.
Yep. Sorry, I say
Um,
that.
I I I don't know. I'm fine with it.
Yeah,
Uh,
I myself fine with it. Yes.
I'm not sure why I wouldn't be. I mean, I guess the one thing that you could object to is the use of rape in the show.
Well,
Um, but I
it
was
work it work in the context.
yeah, and the most interesting thing I think about the story beat of Ash getting raped by
Yep.
Garvey in episode 3. The
Yep.
thing that I was most interested by was that Max, upon hearing that had happened, when Garvey comes down the stairs and Max is on his way up to check on Ash, as soon as he hears what Garvey says,
Yep.
he instead of like getting angry or getting embroiled in some kind of conflict, he immediately like runs to Ash's side. So that tells you about Max's character, that he's a
Mm-hmm.
compassionate person,
Mm-hmm.
and that he's not looking for a fight. It also tells you a lot about prison culture,
Yep.
that this is kind of the way of things, and so there's really no reason or motive for Max to get upset. He just goes to Ash, who he knows will need to speak to him.
And it tell you more about Ash as well. That he like get used to this kind of abuse before.
Right. We see that in episode 2 when the
Mm.
crooked cop shows him the sex tape.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. What a douche.
Yeah. But yeah. Well, so far so good. Yeah, I actually like the scenes where Ash like friend kiss Edgy.
Yeah.
So that he can transfer the letters to
Right.
him.
The pill.
Uh,
He gets the
the
capsule
pill.
from the doctor for the pain, and then he puts a message inside of it.
Yeah.
Although that message, when I saw how long the piece of paper was, I was like, okay, it's only
Uh.
going to be 1 or 2 sentences. But then AG keeps reading, and it's like 2 paragraphs.
Yeah, that's right.
How'd you get that
Well,
all on there?
yeah. Apart from all that, I think the show worked fine for now. The the pacing is a bit too quickly sometimes. I'm not even surprised that the next episodes or two that Ash will get out of the prisons.
Oh, he'll
And
probably be out in the next episode.
yeah, so that just show you how quick the things runs.
Yeah.
I don't know how relevant Max gonna be in the story. I think he still have some use later on.
Oh, definitely.
This-
As a journalist, definitely.
Yeah, despite the fact that he said that he gonna quit. One thing I know about this kind of mafia story is that you can't quit.
Yeah.
You just when you stuck in there, you have to go all the way. So yes. Edges, I like him in the second episodes, but on the third one, he's just he isn't that fleshed out for me.
I don't think I agree. I think
All
that
right.
at the end of the 3rd episode, he has taken on the burden of investigating um, Banana Fish and the connection between the drug and Ash's brother and all that. As soon as he gets the capsule that
Yep.
that Ash passes to him in a very creative way,
Mm-hmm.
he at that point he is almost functioning as the primary character, because now he's the one who's going to Chinatown to see if he can contact Shorter and have his brother moved, you know,
Yep.
and get the drug back. And then he takes it upon himself, becoming very active to try to find the doctor, Dr. Meredith. But of course,
Yep.
that ends with him getting slammed up against the wall by Arthur, who was waiting for him.
It
So
just his but it just his personality that I don't find interesting so much.
Okay.
And yep.
I think, I mean, he's definitely, he doesn't have as much charisma as Ash. I mean, if you hold anyone up to Ash, not even from
Yeah.
Banana Fish, but from other anime series, Ash is like dripping with personality. He's the bad boy. He's the tough guy. He's got a smart remark for everybody. He just the way he walks with a swagger. He's like an insane shot.
Yeah.
With a gun, and he can like drive really well with his hands duct taped, and the guy's got it all. So yeah, next to him, Eiji as the other lead character, he's a bit of a wet blanket. But especially as the two grow closer, I think he'll develop nicely. That's my hope anyway.
All right. Let's get to another show.
Okay.
So we have let's go with Grand Blue. I want to save Rebel Starlight for the last.
All right. Sounds good.
All right.
So Grand Blue episode 2. How'd you feel about this?
So still a lot of hijinks between. Oh, so that episode we got into the most hijink about setting up a room.
Yes.
Put on the poster on the hentais, and
Yep.
well, I'm 50-50 about that. I still find that amusing. I still find that stupid. At the same both at the same times, and but the one thing that I really like about this episode and about the show so far is when it treat the diving, on the aspect of diving, it treats it seriously. It doesn't like going halfway, going so it just do it like seriously, and I appreciate for that. It know when it get crazy, and it know when it gets serious.
Okay.
How
So
about you?
you said you were 50-50 on the gag with the constant decoration
Yep.
of the room, so
Yep.
that what's her face, Nanaka would
Uh,
let him go to the drinking party with the girls from the
yep.
women's
Oh,
university.
if I was him, I would do that as well.
Oh, of course.
Yep. So.
So I mean that's the motivation for all the like the constant redecoration.
Yep.
Although multiple times throughout that series of jokes, I guess, or the big like escalation, he thinks to himself, "Oh, I'm gonna do it. You guys just let me do it,
Yep.
and we'll get this done right, and then I'll be able to go out drinking." But then something always distracts him, like a new
Yep.
a new DVD that he gets from the two beefy dudes, or I
Yep.
don't even remember what else. But
And
that. So if you were 50, I thought that was so silly. Like that he would think to himself, "Oh yeah, okay, well I'll just get this done real quick," and then he's distracted by whatever.
yep.
It fits with what happened in episode 1, where he was constantly being roped into a bunch of tomfoolery. But if you were, I mean, if you were 50-50 on this, I was like 20-80.
Oh yeah, 20 enjoyment.
Yeah,
All right.
not feeling it.
Because all right, it's a bit kind of repetitive, so it's kind of bright in the end. But actually, I like the end when he decided to put Chisha photo face into like all of the posters.
Yeah, that
I-
was the 20 for me.
Really? All right.
Yeah, that was the good part.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the capping off the gag with. I mean, I don't know why I didn't expect it
Yeah.
for the girl to walk in, but when she did, I started laughing. That got me, because it was so much more ridiculous than anything else from that segment.
Yeah. And yeah. Well, I like I said, I find the gags is very silly, but yeah, it's kind of amusing.
Yeah. I mean, it's amusing enough to watch another couple episodes at least. But like I didn't really Apart from the one moment of the girl walking in, I didn't appreciate anything about this episode. Even the more serious parts, like when he
Yeah.
goes to the aquarium with Nanaka,
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
he says all this stuff about no one likes hearing people say negative things about their passion, and it's good to have friends who have the same interests. Like
That bullshit.
he's saying all this obvious self-evident stuff, and the show, through its use of like new age music and like beautiful undersea life above his head, it's treating it as something like amazing and revelatory. And then he comes home to the diving place like a changed man, and he gives the girl he gives his cousin a keychain. I was like rolling my eyes the entire time.
Well, it's maybe a key event for him to realize the beauty of underwater. So
But if that's a key event for him, then he's the shallowest man on earth.
well, well, he is shallow man. You can see him from the last episodes that he just right into all these things. I don't expect him to be that deep.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I
well,
guess. I mean, I was expecting the whole time for the show to undercut all that stuff where he's at the aquarium and like learning about how it's good to have friends, and the more it'll be more fun for you and for others if you all have the same hobby. I was
mhm.
expecting the show to come in with some kind of joke, like a fart joke or something. Get like a censored penis on the screen again for the millionth time, but it didn't happen. But I
well,
mean, you have a point. He is a shallow person, so maybe this is a breakthrough for him.
and I actually glad that the show treat those scenes like seriously because I think it worked in contrast with all the silly things that we seen from the beginning up to that point. So yes, it still has something like seriously to say.
Yeah,
I'm so okay with that.
yeah, it's true. There's definitely a contrast. I mean, this episode split itself pretty much in half. Dedicated the first half to the big old running gag with the decoration of the room, and the second part to. I mean, there was even a bit where he tries to open his eyes underwater and stuff, and there were
Yep,
still censored
yep,
penises in
yep.
that part, but that there was at least some sense of movement towards his eventual like being comfortable in the water and diving with his friends and forming some kind of connection apart from just getting drunk and talking about
Uh,
girls.
yeah, but have you seen about the PV for the next episodes?
Yeah,
That
the purple-haired woman in the bed with him.
yeah.
I was kind of interested in that because it's a new character. At the very
Uh-huh.
least, we'll get some fresh blood.
All right, at the very least, but you know what? He got drunk. He wake up with a woman beside him in on the bed. That's
There's
just so that's just so basic. Boy dreams.
yeah,
Every boy dream about that.
yeah, but he won't have slept with her. There's no way.
Yeah, but
This is anime. There's no
yeah,
way he will have done anything with her.
uh, have you seen any anime with this sense of penis?
With decensored?
With sensors
I mean,
penis?
yeah, this show. This
Mm-hmm.
show has censored penises.
Just this shows.
Oh no, man! Japan is all about like the think about it. He's a virgin in college. He wants to go out drinking with girls from women's universities. Like, if the show pops his cherry between episodes 2 and 3, then what is there for him to move towards?
Oh,
You know what I mean? Like
yep,
he can't be the thirsty guy anymore because now he's already
yep.
done it. He just doesn't remember.
I do expect that his first time will be with his cousins. So let's see.
I don't think there's gonna be any sex of any kind in this
Uh,
show.
I, I yeah, I think there's gonna be a romantic development though between him and Chisa,
Yeah. I mean he gave her the keychain. That's when you know that it's destined
and
love.
she plus on the way. Like
Yeah.
every time where it's regarding to Iori, Chisa just acts so
Yeah, it's pretty dumb.
obviously yeah. All right. So how do you think of about this show so far?
I
You
mean,
think you still enjoy it like
no,
for a few more episodes?
I sure for a few more, sure. But
Yeah.
yeah, if it continues on this path, I'm getting ready to drop it.
All right. We will see about that then.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right, let's get to the last show, the review Starlight.
Yes, the
There's
show rules.
yeah. All right. How do you think about the second episodes?
It's really good and cool, and I like it.
Do how do you feel about the repetitive in structure?
Um,
So that's basically repeat the structure of the first episodes.
Kind
That's
of,
what I
yeah.
mean.
There's even the duel between the same two characters at the end.
Right.
I liked it, um,
Uh,
because I think the reason that it worked so well for me is because the idea that I had coming into the show, at least after I
mm-hmm.
found out about like the duels and stuff, was,
Yeah.
oh, so it's going to be some sort of elimination thing, and once a girl is defeated, then she's not in contention for the position of top star anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But then immediately the show says, no, that's not how we're doing it. This is not a Madoka Magica. This is not some kind of, death game or anything like that. Girls are not eliminated from contention. And in fact, Karen's character kind of embodies the idea that she even says literally at one point, we will return to stand on this stage again and again. Like her character
Mm-hmm.
represents the idea that there are going to be multiple chances
Mm-hmm.
and that not everything is set in stone, not everything is predestined. Whereas Juna's character, and that's the girl with glasses that she fights, she thinks that she's like struggling against destiny, and the reason that she can't beat the top two girls in the class is because she's not able because she wasn't fated to defeat them. So the reason
Mm-hmm.
I like the repetition is because it gives the show a chance to really flesh out that dichotomy between those two characters by showing us a battle between them again,
Mm-hmm.
and by going through the same motions but giving Juna a little bit more time in the spotlight, so
Yep.
we can really feel the struggle that she's going through. So I like it.
And yep. And the more that I learn about on the theaters stuff, review stuff, the more that I realize that Karen is a very um is a character that go against on the traditional of the theaters. So like the theater always put like I put like one star,
Are you
one man
talking
star.
about like Takarazuka, this specific kind of theater?
Yep. I'm
Did
talking
you
about that.
did you read that same Twitter thread? Did you read the Twitter
Yep.
thread that I read?
All right.
Okay.
I think we're talking about the same thing. Yes.
Yeah.
That's the Twitter threads. Yep.
Yeah, go on about that. I read the same thing. It was fascinating.
Yeah. Because the thing that I realized was so they talk about the position zero, which is basically where the main stars sits stay there like right in the centers. And we have like everyone fighting for that spot. But Karen is the one who like go against all these because first she the one who wants everyone to participate in, and as you know, the Starlight troop that they're gonna do is have like 8 characters, but we have like 9 characters in total, and she want them all to appear in the theaters.
Right.
Yes, in the play. So I think the second thing that make her like kind of like go against all these things is like she literally just crush in the auditions, and despite everyone like despite not even being invited, despite the talking giraffe told him to to just shut to just don't do anything. She participate in, and she want to like she just basically to include everyone
Right.
to
Yeah.
do that. All right. I'm done talking here because I don't know what I will get. I'm just talking on this, so you gonna just do your thing, man.
Okay. Sure. Yeah, I agree with. I read that same Twitter thread that you did, and I do think that Karen's character kind of represents a rejection of exclusion, and this actually kind of goes back to Yurikuma Arashi. Do you remember the scenes in Yurikuma where they would all be in the classroom, and then they would all hold up their cell phones, and the main
Yep.
girl would say like, "Let's search evil," and they would exclude someone
Yep.
on the
Yep.
basis of their personality or their sexual orientation or something about them. Like the girls would all decide they would search out the evil with their phones and cast someone out of the class. Something similar is going on in this show, and they even have the cell phones with the like the specific ringtone and the giraffe's head that shows up. It's reminding me very strongly of Yurikuma. So the giraffe as the leader of the review, or at least kind of the person who's set up the duels between the girls. His goal is to find the top star via exclusion. So he wants to have them all duel one another and prove their superiority to one another until a top star is like minted and discovered. But Karen goes against that. She wants to be inclusive, like you said. So that not only goes against the wishes of the review and the telekinetic giraffe or whatever he is, telepathic. It also goes against the tradition of Takarazuka Theater and the Revue Starlight musical, where there's only one top star, who plays the male role. In the show, there is no male role. They're all women. And I suspect that there's probably going to, there are obviously girls with crushes on girls in this series, and I think that in itself will become an important point that the show will try to grind out, using this same kind of repetition. Because we've got what's the girl's name? What's the roommate's name who doesn't want Hikari to move in? Oh, it's Mahiru. So we have Mahiru, who has a crush on Karen. We've got Karen, who's fixated on Hikari. We've got Banana, who starts to get a little bit of a spotlight in this episode. She's Juno's roommate, but she seems to have a bit of a fixation on Hikari as well. So I think she will eventually emerge as a rival for Hikari's affections, like between Banana and Karen. There might be a duel between them. So I'm just fascinated by parallels to past Ikuhara works, and also parallels between this anime and the musical, for which it functions as like an advertisement, and also its own like separate work and almost a completely different canon. And the just everything that's going on in the show thematically, like all the relationships between the characters and what we touched on last week, the surreal nature of it, how much of it is real, how much of it is imagined. Is there even a difference? Does it even matter? Pretty much everything about it I love. I even love the fact that it functions as an idol anime with kind of like generic looking Love Live-y character designs, because then it's able, by resembling one of those shows so closely, it is then able to completely like flip the script and do a 180 when it's time for the duels in the basement of the school. So like I just love everything about it. It's awesome.
And I want to mention on the symbolism that the show have as well. In visual, they have like they always put like the symmetry that put Karen in the middle of the spot. To say that like she the main character and she gonna be like just like position 0, that she gonna be in that like center light,
and that she'll also connect all the characters because she wants everyone to be included. So being in the middle, she kind of connects those on the left and those on the right. She's like a bridge almost.
That's exactly right. And I also noticed the like you said, in individualism. That in the you when you see like on the sameness that the show try to do on the repetitive on the like the costume that's the girls wear when they go into the duel. It was like mass produced by a machine, so everything looked the same, looked like exactly the same.
But hers
We
is
have
different,
like
right?
yeah. Also in the fight in the duel that we see in the second episodes of her and Chuna, we see like on the mannequins who basically look the same as well.
With the
So
gold faces, yeah,
yeah, that's right. So that's basically also the fight between like being standing out, being your own personality against like all the things that make you like be the same.
right.
So I like that as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. Bringing up the mannequins, I had forgotten about those for a second, but they were very striking,
Yep.
especially the fact that their faces were plated in gold,
Hmm.
and then you would have the scenes where Juna's arrow would be knocked and would be like sticking out from between
The
the mannequins.
mannequins.
So
Yep.
the fact that you would see all the mannequins lined up and like sometimes there would be glasses on one of them
Yeah, that's
to
right.
represent Juna. So whenever you saw the glasses on one of their faces, that was supposed to represent the state of her mind.
Yep.
She's desperately trying to separate herself from the thousands of girls who like share her dream and are in the same
Hmm.
position as she is and want to do something artistic and meaningful with their lives, and she feels like smothered by that. And then when you
Hmm.
would see the arrow between them, that was like quote unquote reality with the
Yep.
play, the
Hmm.
review. So there was like a blending of the mannequins being used as camouflage in the duel and the mannequins being used to represent her mental state and her like inward struggle.
That's right. That's
So
right. I,
which is just phenomenal. Like I love it.
mhm. Yeah, I love it too. Um, yep. What else can we talk about?
Um, I think I've touched on a lot of this stuff in my notes, but let me scroll through. You got anything?
I actually talk all the things that I wanted to talk about.
Oh wait, I've got one. This is pretty important. The duel
Yep.
between Maya and Claudine,
All
the
right.
like the two top girls, because
That's
the
right.
episode
That.
ends with
Yep.
Maya saying like this is Tendo Maya, as if to say like I'm number one. This is my show.
Mm, yep.
So
Yep.
I and even earlier in the fight between Karen and Juna, there was inserted in there was a scene of Maya and Claudine like facing off, as if to say that the two duels were happening simultaneously.
Um, you will see that the competitiveness between that two top girls, right in the beginning of the first episodes. Remember the scene where they have lunch together,
Yep.
and one of the girls, one of the top girl, the blonde one, just like she doesn't start to eat. She wait
Right.
for her opponents to eat,
Yeah, she
and
even wants
then
to have like an eating contest with her because she wants
yeah,
so badly to surpass her.
yeah, and then the other one just like grab the things, and then she didn't actually eat. She just say like "Itekarimasu." She just say like "Have a good meal,"
Right.
and then that girl like like follow them. They just kind of like competitive tension between them right from the beginning. And speaking of that, I also realized that the show want to group together, so we have like our three main characters as one group, and then like every two of them
Yeah. So the
maybe
two we're talking about now are Maya and Claudine, like the number one and number two
yep,
girls in the class. They're a group. And
yep,
then
and
Banana and Juna as roommates, they might be another group, although they seem to be
sh-
functioning kind of independently of one another right now.
mhm.
And then
And we
there's the
have like
girls. Go ahead.
with the yeah, and then there's a girl with a motorcycle and the girl who always asleep.
Right.
That's another group. So yes, I don't know how the show will do with that. I think they're gonna be like the duo between the two groups together. That's be cool.
Yeah,
I mean like between Karen Hikari with another group
maybe.
because for now like basically what Karen says that she will fight for Hikari dream. They share the same dreams.
Right. That's why she was led into the review in the first place, was because her dream was the same as Hikari's. I think it
Mm.
was made clear, like at one point or another, that that's the reason the giraffe, like admitted her into the
Yep,
review.
yep, that's right. Hmm.
And speaking of the giraffe, do you remember when Hikari was talking to the giraffe, like through the elevator shaft
Yep,
when it was closed?
yep, yep.
That was so weird. It was just so
The
strange that
the
that
the
you could
visual.
communicate that way. Yeah, and like the giraffe's down there back in the backstage area with the spotlight on him, and there's the cassette player, the tape
Yep.
deck. It's
Uh-huh.
just everything about this show just makes me like laugh at how strange
Yep.
it is, and then I think about it, and then then I love it.
Yeah, that I mean like on the visual, on the ideas that they have are so striking that it stick with you anyway. On the strangeness, on this like the inventiveness
Right.
that just stick with you. I like all of these things.
Yeah. I agree. And I think I did want to bring up the duel between Maya and Claudine. I feel as
Oh
though
yeah.
that was happening at the same time as the other duel that we saw,
Mm.
because they were intercut together. It wasn't just the little teaser at the end. There was one shot of Maya and Claudine like in the middle of Karen and Juna's fight, although it was short. So that kind of reinforces the idea that this is happening perhaps in another realm, or
Mm.
like that it's not necessarily real, and it's not bound by the laws of time as we know them, like linearity and everything happening in one line.
Yep.
So it may be that all the girls are dueling, um, all at the same time,
Hmm.
and in the same space but not overlapping.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't want to think too hard about like the physical or the metaphysical implications of what the series has shown us so far. I'm just
That's right.
for right now I'm just content to enjoy the ride.
Yep. That's right. It's more about the idea. It's more about the the surreal thing that they want to try to across that make it work.
Yep.
So don't try to make sense of that very too much.
Yep. It's a
Oh,
good show so far.
yep, I agree.
They got plenty of time to mess it up though,
I
if they so choose.
well, I actually afraid on that because they're just like 12 episodes. How can they actually do all these reviews or the do in just in the length of just like 10 more episodes? I'm actually curious.
Yeah,
I
me
want the
too.
show to run more. That's what I mean.
Oh, I think 12 is probably good because there are only 9 main girls, so we'll get to see all
Yeah,
of them fight once or twice, and then there'll be some kind of big finale,
well,
maybe. I don't know.
yeah. Hopefully, for what I see, they do with the junior characters, I happy with how they like flesh her out. So I hope the same for all the other characters.
Yeah, you know what I liked most about Juna's character was that at the end,
Yep.
Karen like ducked. You know how the curtain falls on the
Yeah. Yeah.
girls
Yeah.
after they lose.
Uh huh.
Like Karen goes underneath the cover, underneath the curtain,
Yep.
and she congratulates Juna on her performance. And
Yep.
Juna is like not bitter. She's like totally won over by Karen, whose goal is to make sure that everyone's able to participate and everyone can be a star in their own right.
Hmm.
So then the two girls get to be friends.
Yep.
That's what I like most about the way that her part in this episode ended, was that Karen is like such a positive force that she's gonna, I assume, win over all the other members of the review, and maybe Maya, the girl who at the end of the episode says like, "This is Tendo Maya,"
Yep.
the number one girl. Maybe she'll function as the main antagonist.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Although maybe there'll be some kind of twist and it'll be somebody else, or the giraffe himself will participate. I don't know.
Yeah. He's cool.
Yeah,
I like him.
he is cool.
All right. Do you have any other thing to talk about that shows?
No, I've exhausted my list of talking points, I think.
Well, yeah, I'm sure that we will have more to talk about as the episode goes on. This is the show that you know, symbolism alone that have that can make us have like a lot of things to talk about.
Yep,
All right,
which is a good thing.
let's. Yeah, that's a good thing. I love other show with heavy symbolism.
That's what we
I
got
think
here.
that's Yeah, I think that's why I love the original Utena. Which people tend to compare this show to Utena a lot.
Yeah, I need to hurry up and watch Utena like really soon after I finish this.
We can do Utena after Nadia Secret of Blue Water if you
No,
like.
we're doing that other show. I'm already planning, like right now I'm burning through a bunch of anime so that I can start my next bracket, and Utena's
Yep.
on it.
All right. Because that other shows we can take like 3 or 4 weeks to finish it
Oh, I,
because it just had like 12 episodes.
I was thinking we would do like only 2 episodes per week, so we could like
So
really
all right,
analyze
so
them.
it's like 2 episodes per week. I'm good with that actually because that is a show that have a lot to talk about as well. Not really sure that for half an hour for 2 episodes is gonna good enough, but we can try.
Yeah, we'll see.
And for all the listeners, that other shows that we were talking about, Word, can you tell them the
Sure.
title?
Yeah, Serial Experiments Lane,
Yep.
everybody's favorite anime.
Well, it basically my favorite anime ever. Oh, series, my favorite anime series ever. It's like one of the first show that I watched when I become serious into anime, and it's totally blew me away. So
Hopefully, I have a similar reaction after having seen like 300 plus series.
yeah. Hopefully now when I watch more shows, when I watch it back, it still hold up. Let's see.
Yeah,
It definitely have a lot to talk about.
yeah. That's why I was thinking just 2 episodes
Yep.
per podcast.
All right.
But enough about that. What's the last show we're going to talk about today?
All right. Let's do this with Nadia's Secret of Blue Water.
All right. How'd you feel about this batch?
All right. This batch alone we have just one setting. So we have inside the Nautilus ship, and
They go to the island in episode 13.
oh yeah, they got a brief time in the island. Well, I don't think it's as good as on the 10 episode that we watch, but I still enjoy it all the same. So that's a show that like I can actually can be through 5 episodes at one time without like with, without complaining.
Okay, that's good. That's a good thing.
So that means that you don't feel the same.
No, I agree. Um,
Yeah,
I do feel as though there was a lot of repetition
yeah,
in some of the early episodes, particularly in this batch of 5. Like Grandis's crush on Captain Nemo
yep,
was totally like overbearing in the first two, in like episodes 11 and 12. Episode 11 especially, it was just all the main gang getting brought onto the Nautilus as like main crew members and trying to figure out what their roles would be. And Grandis is, like cooking disgusting looking food, which is actually delicious, and just wanting to please Captain Nemo. And then when King the lion gets in the way of that by stealing the food and running through the air duct, that makes them all chase after it. That was a strange episode, maybe my least favorite so far.
all right.
And then episode 12 repeats a lot of the same stuff. You know, Mary saying that everyone has bad manners. The first time that happened, that was pretty cute. When she
Yeah.
stays sitting at the table, everyone else runs away. Then the second time, I was like, all right, that's enough of this.
All right. I
So,
think
The early episodes in this
yep.
batch, not a fan, but it
Yeah.
rescued itself later for me.
Hmm. For those 5 episodes, they keep hinting at like the dark, more like like more mature theme about like um what exactly that ship Nautilus, what's their main objective is. It's just like the killing machine that they make it very clear what many points of the time.
That's what Nemo calls it. He says that it's a killing machine, but I don't think that his crew, and especially not Elektra, I don't think they agree.
Well, consider that like only members of that crew was like having some of their own members die from the others Neo Attilas, uh,
Atlantis? Yeah.
Atlantis, Neo Atlantis. I would say that they know what they in for,
Oh yeah, they all
and
want revenge.
yeah,
Elektra
and that
especially.
yep, and they all said that it's because of Nemo decisions that they want to serve like in accordance with Nemo wish.
Right. But the show is also relying heavily, it's like leaning heavily on the theme that technology is neither good nor evil. Even though a lot of
Hmm.
characters in this series are coming out and saying that it's one or the other, I think what the show is trying to demonstrate to us is that it's how inventions and technology and science, how all of that is used, whether it's used for good or for ill. That's what
Yep,
determines it. It's not inherently one or the other.
yep,
So I don't think that we're supposed to get the idea that the Nautilus is a killing machine. It's certainly capable of that, but we
yep,
have the foil in episode 15 of the American fleet,
yep.
who are just
Hmm.
like mindlessly launching all their torpedoes and missiles and just to destroy things, seemingly because they can.
No,
Uh,
similarly because they think that it's the sea monster that that cause havoc into uh innocent people.
but doesn't the American captain, doesn't he acknowledge the fact that it is a submarine? He calls it a monster, but I think by this
Yep,
point he knows that it's a submarine with a crew, with people on board.
yep, that's right.
And is he mistaken about? He says that the Nautilus, or at least the sub, what he's shooting at, has
Hmm.
claimed thousands of lives.
Hmm.
Is he right about that, or is he mistaking it for the Garfish, the
Yeah,
gargoyle submarine?
I think he's mistaking it, but the point is he still think that ship is responsible for all the death of the innocent people.
Right. But I don't think the show has come out clearly and said that that's not the case. So
Hmm.
what if it is?
Hmm.
Like, what if that's something that the Nautilus has been doing? It's been killing or destroying ships and killing people on those ships that come into contact with it because it can't afford to be discovered. Like that's Nemo's whole thing in episode 15. They can't surface to save the guys in the gas leak, the chamber with the gas leak, because they don't want to surrender and like reveal their secrets. What if they have been
Yep.
killing people in order to protect their secrets?
Yeah, we don't know about that. Hey.
I'd say that's doubtful, but the show's already gone pretty dark after episode 15, so it
Mhm.
it could go even deeper.
Yep. And the thing that I really appreciate about this shows alone is the directions. I think that's speak to how skillful the director is. But I it's when I see like how Mary get lost when she follow the track of the train track.
Oh, I loved that.
Yeah. Like usually like other show would go into like like shortcut, like many shortcut that it might get obvious that she get lost, but like the way that the show just follow Mary around, and like when we see like more tracks, more incoming track comings, that we feel the sense of like she will get lost
Yeah.
along with her, and I really like it.
Oh, I totally agree, man. I
Yeah.
it was I was actually amazed at
Hmm.
at how successful that, like, taking the show's perhaps its most cloying character and its most like like too sweet, too cutesy, perhaps a little bit grating or annoying. It took that character and it took her on like a 5-minute journey across like grassy hills and then eventually on the railroad tracks, and her just like playing and getting lost. It did all that, and it stayed with her, and it like you said, it didn't take any shortcuts, it didn't skip around, and it had my interest the entire time. I was so enthralled watching her just being a kid and having fun, and then when
Mm-hmm.
she started to get lost and she started to become a little more fearful, I was like really worried for her.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's
then
right.
and then when she sees, when the camera like pans up and you see the railroad tracks going in like 10 different directions, and she says,
Yep, yep.
"Oh my god."
Yeah. Oh my God.
I just burst out into laughter. I was like practically rolling on the ground. It was so funny.
Yeah.
I that's something I'll never be able to explain. Like how a television show, a movie, an anime series, whatever, how they can totally captivate you like that just by choosing the shots correctly.
That's right. That's right.
It's unbelievable.
I think it just speaks to the to the skill of the directors, because sometimes they can make like a seemingly normal scenes to become like like really connected to us.
Yeah.
So I'm looking to that scene, and I look into one more scenes. Oh, I look into the scene where the crew member, his name is Fat,
Yeah.
Fait, um in the room, in the room, and as you say, Nemo refused to let them out in fear of on the Toxics will come out get everyone. Uh, First he totally cool with the he agree with the caption decisions, but like when in the moment of his death, he actually like freak out,
Yeah.
and actually like he make it clear that he doesn't want to die at that time, and you feel like on the frustration or on the like the ugly bit of like having to sacrifice someone for like it, even though they have the capability to save him, to save them. And I just feel the frustration in like like in every other characters, so that actually really brilliant.
Yeah. I got chills when he like screamed out, I don't want to die. I
Yep.
I want to keep living. That there's more I want to do. Don't let me die.
Yeah.
After all that, after he had told John and Nadia like, it's okay, I agree with the captain's decision. This is what we have to do. All the crew
Yep.
members, we know what we've signed up for. We believe in him. We trust him. And
Yep.
then the silence for just the
Yep.
right amount of time, and then the screams,
Yep.
and then it goes silent again, and then John starts to like he starts to practically scream,
Yep.
and cry, and like his grief is so overwhelming. It's like so powerful. That's I was reminded very strongly of Evangelion,
Oh, bro.
in the way that John reacted to Fate's death. The way that he was, that's like classic Shinji to me, the main character in Eva.
All right.
He would just like get completely, the intensity of his circumstances, he would get completely carried away by his emotions and just scream like an animal sometimes.
Wow.
So I definitely one of my favorite moments of the show so far, perhaps my most favorite. Although I mean, I think episode 15 is probably the best episode so far,
Yep.
just for the power of that, the second half alone, the plot with
Yep.
the toxic gas and the captain's ability to save him by surfacing, but his refusal to do so.
Yep.
Because now, not all of Nadia's like constant objections to Nemo being a murderer and to people eating meat, and her just being like an extreme pacifist and not willing to look any death, suffering, anything like that in the eye. She can't take it. All of a sudden now, that's like very real. So the show is it's a different series from this point on.
Yep. Agreed. And to say that like Nemo decision is not that bad at all, because he self like other people, he self for the majority of people. But to the eyes of Nadia especially, he's still he's still someone resembling a killers,
Yeah.
because just because that he is capable of saving them, but he refused to do that.
Yeah. He wants to protect the secrets of the submarine above all
Mhm.
else. But
Uh,
I feel like there's a reason for that, because when we see the what is it called, the nameplate of the sub in episode
yeah
15 that only Nadia can read, that other language,
yeah.
I feel as though there's probably some sort of like alien component or some other race, like something
Yeah.
supernatural, not human. Um, that this submarine perhaps is a gift from the ancient Atlanteans or something, and
Oh.
it like cannot fall into the wrong hands, or else the world would be destroyed. And Nemo is
Mm.
burdened with that knowledge, so he can't risk it. Like if he has to let Fate and two other crew members die, then
Mhm.
that's a small price to pay for keeping this secret out of the hands of people who would use it to destroy the Earth. And that goes back to the
Yep.
theme of technology being,
Yep.
good in good hands and evil in evil hands. It's not one or the other.
I agree. And how do you think about Nadia in those episodes? How she like become aggressively refuse to like to look face to face, to look like like oh, how to say that, has he actually like refused all the deaths of all the innocent animals and stuff.
Right. Yeah, she was like adamantly opposed to the killing of animals, the consumption of meat,
Yeah.
murder under any circumstances, killing under any circumstances. I was how did I feel about it? I mean, I know that's what her character represents. That's who she is and what she stands for, and I
Mm-hmm.
respect that. But I was worried that she would become nothing but a mouthpiece for that point of view. I was
Mm-hmm.
worried that she would lose the more cheerful, fun part of herself that we do see emerge from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
But I because episode 15 went so far in the direction that it did, and now John is kind of on the same wavelength as she is.
Yep.
I feel as though she won't stand in such a stark contrast to everyone else anymore.
Mm.
Like people, pe- with Nemo being such an extreme person himself, and kind of
Mm-hmm.
being on the opposite end of the spectrum, I feel as though there might be a little more balance ideologically, so
Mm-hmm.
that she won't be, quite so far to the left or to the right of everyone else. She'll perhaps fall more in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
that's I still like her character. I'm not too worried about how she'll be used or handled from this point on. I am starting
Mm-hmm.
to think though that she is not human.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm starting to
Well,
think that she represents like or that she is some sort of goddess or some sort of what did I write down here?
princess.
Yeah, perhaps we were speculating about that last week, I think, or 2 weeks ago, that she might be the princess of Atlantis.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think I kind of feel as though the reason that she's not able to look human or animal suffering in the eye, like she can't take it, is because maybe she feels as though she's responsible for all life on Earth, and maybe
Yep.
she like is responsible in some supernatural capacity for all life on Earth. Maybe she's some sort of goddess or demigoddess
Yep.
who like holds the souls of all things in her hands, and so when she sees suffering, it's like painful to her.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I mean that theory might be supported by the fact that she could read that alien language or maybe that Atlantean language.
Well, I agree with you on that point. Mm-hmm.
I don't want to like
And
look too far down the line, try to predict the show's entire playbook, but I think that's where we might be headed.
yeah, and You know what my favorite moment of those batch of 5 episodes?
What?
That's had to do with the Grandis gang. So remember Hanson, the handsome ones.
I
Actually,
thought Sanson was the handsome
all right,
one.
all right. So that's Sanson, not
I
one or the other. So that's
okay.
Sanson's.
I think I might be
All
wrong.
right, all right. So Hanson, it's not stand for handsome. Okay. So
Okay.
the Sanson guy, actually he was the first one, and he was really worried when he learned the fact that Mary gets sick. So they actually, like there's a kind of, like that chemistry between those guys and Nadia gangs. It's like they not even like, um uh teammate anymore. They more feel like a family to me.
Right. Yeah, and it actually makes perfect sense that he would be the first one into Mary's room because when she gets sick, when she gets what's the disease that they get? Tropical fever.
Tropical fever, yes.
Yeah. When Mary at first and then Nadia develop tropical fever, that's in episode 14. And the episode right before that is 13. That's the one where Mary gets lost. And it's actually Samson who saves her
Yep,
in that really really like beautifully animated like bouncy
that's right.
escape scene from the crab robot.
Yep.
Oh my God, can you imagine something like that being created on TV in 2018? There's just no
Yeah.
way. Like nothing looks like that anymore. It was just
2018. Yep,
yeah,
that's right.
it looks so fun and like so alive, so vibrant.
Yep, that's right.
So
And
he and she they escape together, and so yeah, they I guess they form a bit of a bond, and that they're both like fun-loving kind of troublemaking characters. And so yeah, when she's sick, he would bust. It makes sense that he would bust into her room and be like, "You have to save her."
yeah,
He
that's
demand that of the doctor.
that's the most unlikely dude that I've seen. But actually, they just fit each other,
Yeah,
like love. I really enjoy the fact that the crab with with his claw, and then he just say like scissors. What can be scissor? That's a rock, and he put out a real rock.
yep,
That's the whole thing. Just amazing me. Just amazed.
yeah. It feels like a Saturday morning cartoon.
That's right, and a good one at that.
Yeah, just has a real sense of fun. Like
Mm.
you episode 13 in when you think about the plot of it, they leave the submarine, they leave the main I guess like the home base of the show.
Yep.
Its main setting. They leave and they go to an island for an episode. When you think about it, all they accomplish by going to the island is just to get more meat. Like it's a flimsy reason, really, for them to go there. That it's
Yep.
just the show wanting to do an episode set on an island.
Yep.
And basically, what it sets up is Mary getting lost, attracting the attention of the Neo Atlantean guy, and bringing him back to camp so that Nemo can shoot him, which kicks off the whole Nemo versus Nadia thing.
That's right.
So the entire episode is just to set that up. And in any other series, you would think, oh well, this is dumb, this is filler, this is stupid,
Mm.
and this is just badly written and weakly constructed. But in this show,
Mm.
like so much love and care is put into it
That's right.
that you just can't help but love it. It's great.
Actually, the most creative part is the part that that the most fillers. So we follow Mary for like 5-10 minutes. That that for other show would be a fillers, but for this show, it's just so amazing that we just can't help but like follow her every step.
Yeah, it's like it's wonderful.
Yep.
It's very well crafted. That maybe that's the best way I can say it.
Yep. It's the same that I know after Eva, he just doesn't want to put to do any more new materials anime wise, because I would love to see how his like how his directions, how his sense of putting all the shot all together work.
He did
in
do
other shows.
he did one more TV anime after Evangelion.
Yeah, which one is that?
His
Oh
and Her
yeah,
Circumstances.
the 1999 rom com. Yes.
Yes, it's very good.
Oh, is it?
Yes. Oh,
Because
yes.
I heard that it stopped like in the middle of the way, so I just don't bother to check it out.
Okay, it's 26 episodes. Around episode 18, like this is the case in Evangelion, where the ending was a disaster. This is the case in Secret of Blue Water, where there's like a 10 episode stretch that people recommend that you just skip altogether.
Yeah. Yep.
And this happened in His and Her Circumstances. The production in
Huh.
His and Her Circumstances after episode 18, it falls off a cliff. Like
All right.
it's completely goofy, and they do an entire episode where there's like popsicle stick puppets.
Really?
Yes.
All right.
It's nuts. But the first 18 episodes and even moments in the last 8 are
Yep.
they're beautiful. It's not an original work. It's an adaptation of a manga, but
Yep.
still great. One of the best anime romances I've seen.
All right. So, but you were saying that the episode 18 was so bad that they put like on the stick figures.
Oh no, episode 18 was great. It's everything after that that's
Oh yeah, yeah.
like super low effort. They just hastily put everything together, and I think
Huh.
Ano had like left the production at that point because he butted heads with the mangaka.
Oh.
But yeah, there's a puppet episode. It's it's weird.
All right. I'm interested to check that out.
Oh yeah, it's really good.
Hmm.
And so is this show. I like it. Although yeah,
Yeah.
I do think that episodes 11 and 12, I did think that they were a bit of a drag.
Yep.
But
Well,
you know,
it
it's fine.
it still work for me, especially when the ladies what his name, what her name, is it
Grandis?
Yeah. When she told Nadia about her her backstory, it actually pretty good for me.
Okay. Yeah, that was episode 12.
Yeah, that was in episode 12. That just say how tragic she is, how naive.
Right.
That's the word that we can say about her now. But yeah, she was before very naive, and
I
she
think
paid the price.
She's still
She's
kind of
still, yeah.
naive. Yeah.
She like a romantic guy,
Yes.
and
She's
all the
definitely a romantic.
and all the romantic guys always have like that kind of like naive.
Yeah. But she's an alright character. I mean,
Yeah.
at this point, she might be my least favorite,
Oh
just
really?
because of how hung up she is on Nemo. Yeah.
All right, I enjoy all the characters so far. I even enjoy her Grandis and Electra's squirrel about Nemo, but actually very silly. But I still enjoy it.
Yeah, definitely silly.
Well,
It's
Yep.
it's all right. Yeah, I
Yep.
mean, I hope that eventually that love triangle is treated with a little more respect than it has been so far, or else they drop it. Like it needs to be one of the two. I don't know how much more I can take of the way it is right now,
all
especially
right.
because Electra is such a confident person and a capable second in command, like a lieutenant. And so for her to be secretly pining for Nemo, I mean, that's fine. That's men and women, they fall in love. That happens, every second of every hour of every day.
Yep.
But I don't want it to take over her character or anything.
Yep. And yeah, I think after this episode 15, things gonna get darker. Let's see about that. And
I hope so, because there's like no going back after
Yeah.
after like John screaming his lungs out after the death of a friend that he'd made, and he was like gassed, and oh my
That's right.
gosh, no, you can't go back.
Yeah, that's right. So I think a good drama show is a show that established a good like point of no turning back. So when we reach that point, we know that we could never go back to the way it was before, and I think that Nadia reached that stage with these episodes. So let's see how they gonna like escalate on this on the drama to the other levels.
Yeah, looking forward
And
to it.
what would you say the 10 episode that people say is the fillers? When will that happen?
I think it's like episodes 23 through
33.
33, something like that. Yeah, I
All
think it
right.
starts at 23 and then it goes to 33 or 34.
All right. So just like five, 6 episodes before it ends. Huh.
Yeah.
All
That's
right.
that's what they say.
I'm still down to watch it.
Yeah,
Let's just see.
me too.
All right.
When we do the 21 to 25 batch in a
We will
couple
see.
weeks, we will get our
Yep.
first taste. Yep.
That's right. All right. Is there any closing thought for the week, Whooper?
Review Starlight, still anime of the season.
Yep.
I'm never wrong.
All right.
I mean, Banana Fish is still holding my attention like pretty strongly. It
Yeah.
has its problems, but I'm still pretty excited to watch it on a week to week basis, which is not something I can say about a lot of series.
Yep. How how about Grand Blue and
Forget.
Secret the Jaggers?
Get me out of here, man. Get me out of
All
here.
right. We do one more week about those shows, and if we still feel like we can cover it, we will. Otherwise, we choose other two shows. How do you think about that?
I mean, we could just decide to drop like one of them if necessary.
All right, just drop or replacing.
Well, yeah,
We
we
may-
we could try to replace. We have some candidates. We got
Chio-chan.
Moise. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Hey, if
All right.
I'm hearing reports that Chio-chan's first episode was like its weakest and that it gets better as it goes along. So if it's necessary that we like drop one of these shows and replace it, then yeah, I'll check out another episode, see if it gets any better. Maybe.
All
Maybe.
right. Just so you listening know that I also watched Chio-chan. Chio-chan's second episode was pretty good. Like it's better. It is even better than the first. But the third one still pretty good until the point where there was like sexual harassment between a girl into another girl, and it's kind of it kind of tests me.
Tested you, huh?
Yeah, it's just like it's just like the way that you like me, so this is the real me now. How do you feel? I think the show just try to test me how I will adapt to that.
Okay. Well, I mean, it is anime, so you can expect terrible, outdated politics, I guess.
Yeah, and I see opinion from like either sides, both the fan and both like really angry about that. So I still don't know what to think about this.
All you can do is give it another episode.
Yes, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
see
I
how it
will. I
turns
will.
out.
Of course. Yep. Otherwise, I watch all these other shows. I think Planet Witch still remain pretty weird.
Oh, I would be disappointed if it started making
Yeah.
sense this early.
I actually see the appeal of it now. The way that like it have like all the familiar pieces, but the way it resemble everything together is pretty weird that you don't know what to expect.
Yeah,
S-
that's
So
that's what I'm banking on.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna watch it in the future. Everything that we didn't pick up,
Yeah.
I'm saving to watch until later. So I haven't seen any second episodes except for the ones we talked about today.
All right.
So if it
That's-
becomes necessary for us to pick up a new series after dropping one of them, then I'll need to catch up really fast.
All right. I just have one last question to you before we end this podcast.
Okay.
That is, have you finished Piano no Mori, the last episodes?
Yes, I loved it.
Really?
Yes.
I hated it.
It was just dedicated to Kai's his performance.
That's the whole point. They spent like freaking 25 half an hour just for Kai performance.
I loved it. That's exactly what I wanted.
I I wanted it. I wanted to see Kai performance, but not the whole thing.
I mean, I feel as though that's what it was building to, especially since in the first episode, the very first thing we see is him sitting down at a piano at the Chopin Festival getting ready to perform. So it was all building up to that moment. So I appreciate the fact that it actually built to it instead of it being like a couple seconds of a couple pieces like it has been for everyone else.
All right. It just feel like a recap for me, like on the pieces that he play, and then like on the flashback to like on the events that we already know.
Yeah, well, that was kind of a way of like putting a bow on the core and being like, okay, we'll be back in January.
All right. Will you watch it in January though?
No, and perhaps it was too strong. It like the praise was too big when I said I loved it.
Yeah.
It gave me what I wanted, and I actually did enjoy it more than I had any episode of the show since like the midway point, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, my opinion of the show is still pretty sour overall.
All right. I'm not fond of that show either.
Yeah, well, it was all right. I
All
guess.
Right. All right. So that's it for this week. Thank you for listening, guys. So just if you haven't watched Review Starlight, just do yourself a favor and watch it till the end. It actually really good. It actually have a lot to talk about, and stick with Banana Fish as well. It's a good show. Other two shows you can you can watch it just so you know that what we was discussing about. Otherwise, have a good week, man.
Hey, thanks. You too.
Enjoy.
Everyone listening, yeah, you guys have a good week too.
All right. Bye. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.